Hello and welcome. In this short video, I'd like to talk about the different move orders that can happen in the Italian. In fact, it is much simpler than it may look. I do think we should address it somewhere, so I want to talk to you about it right here, right now. Italian rise after moves e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4. Now, the particularly confusing variations are happening in the bishop c5 Italian, so I want to address that. So first of all, bishop c5 Italian, that can already be reached here by two different move orders. Black very often starts with bishop c5, against which I recommend to go c3, threatening d4. Best way is to go is knight f6, and now d3. This is very often happening, bishop c5 is the more popular move, in fact, but for sake of clarity, the main move order that I use in the course when talking about the bishop c5 Italian is knight f6, d3, bishop c5. Now when c3 happens, we get exactly the same position after bishop c5, c3, knight f6, d3. So do realize it is transposing two moves later, so that's the same thing. But for the sake of convenience, the course will have knight f6 as the main move order. After knight f6, d3, Black can also first play h6, against which we castle. Now I covered d6, g5 in separate chapter, and g6 as well in a separate one chapter dedicated to the fianchetto of the bishop on f8. But here, of course, Black can also play bishop c5. And after c3, d6, we get the same position as after bishop c5 on move 4, c3, d6, castle, and now h6. Likewise, instead of h6, Black can also play a6 for some reason. If he chooses to, then we can castle, and now bishop c5. That is the same after c3, same as bishop c5, c3, a6, castle. So Black can do many transpositions, but we don't really care about that. We play our moves. We defend the e4 pawn with d3, and we play c3 castle as soon as bishop is on c5. So against h6 we castle, because against plans with d6 we don't push the pawn on c3, we put a knight on c3. As the d4 square is now less well protected, as the bishop is not on c5, knight d4 becomes less attractive, and so these knight c3 systems are what I recommend. But as soon as bishop is on c5, we can play c3. Likewise, after d3, bishop c5, we could also castle first and then play c3. It doesn't matter. But we do play c3. This is the order I recommend. Well, not I recommend, the order I chose for the course. In fact, there's no reason to recommend c3 over castle. And here again, Black can choose his setup. He's free to choose his setup. He can either play a6 and bring the bishop back, or play a6, keep the bishop here. He can play a5. He can play h6 at almost any moment. We can play d6 now or move later. And he also can play castle and d5. So if he plays castle and d5, he has to do it right now. So castle, castle, d5. This is all very clear. But if he wants to play systems with d6, he can do castle, castle, d6. He can do d6, castle, castle. If he wants to play d6 system with a6, he can do a6 here, castle. If he wants to drop the bishop back, he can do it here, and then play castle after a4. Rook 1 d6, or he can play a4 d6, rook 1 castle. That is up to him. Likewise, he can go here, castle, castle, d6, rook 1 a6, a4, bishop a7. Or he can play d6, castle, now castle, the same thing, rook 1 a6. Or he can play now a6, a4, bishop a7, or a4 castle, rook 1, bishop a7. Basically, there is a set of moves he wants to make that he can make in any order. And if you are good at statistics, if these are 4 moves that he can make in the upcoming 4 turns, it's just there is a easy way to calculate how many different possibilities he has to do that. He can do that, excuse me, and he's allowed to do it. We don't care. We just do our moves as well. We do c3, d3, castle. Few things we have to know that are important. So as soon as a6 and d6 is played, knight a5 becomes a question, becomes an idea. As soon as pawn is on a6, we can play a4. We never play a4 without a6 there. because then black can choose to play a5. And against a5, we don't go a4. We play a4 as a response to the move a6, particularly to the threat of knight a5. So that should be very clear. So here we play rook e1, and otherwise rook e1 is a move we always want to make, by the way. And so here we play rook e1, a6, and a4. Whenever we get this position, which we can get through many move orders, we have to know we don't allow knight d2, knight g4, and we go h3. If black goes, let's say, h6 here, rook e1, castle, we don't go a4. We never go a4 without black having gone a6. So we play here h3, because we want to be able to meet a6 with a4, excuse me, and we want to be able to meet a5 with the d4, which is this position is also part of our repertoire. So we don't want to play knight bd2 here. Here knight g4 is not an issue, but after a5 we are out of our repertoire for the course. You might want to play knight bd2, in fact, if you feel like, but it falls outside of the scope of this course. It's just that will be then something you choose to do on your own. One more thing that we have to be aware of is if black postpones castling, let's say a6, a4, bishop e7 or q1, let's say it goes h6. We should not go h3 when black has played h6 and has not castled yet, because that is asking for g5, g4. This we also don't want. h6, we play knight bd2. Now g5 is covered in the chapter. We don't worry about g5, g4 without pawn being on h3. And likewise, that is the same thing after h6, rook e1, a5. And that is something I discovered only very recently. Here too, this is a very tricky move order against us, because knight bd2, castle, we get something that is not part of the course. Tempting would be to go h3, because castle, we are back in our scheme of things with d4. But now, as you might realize, this is breaking one of our rules. We have castled and we played h3, but black hasn't castled, so g5 is coming, and this is actually very tricky. So we want to avoid that. And the way to get what we want here is to go bishop b3 here first, castle, and now h3. And after rook e8, we play d4. Bishop b6 or bishop a7 transposes back to our repertoire with bishop c2. We're back in our course. So things to keep in mind against a6, a4, preserving this bishop from knight a5. We don't allow h6, g5, so we don't play h3 before black castles. We do want to play d3, c3, rook e1 in all the cases. And against a5 systems, we never want to have our knight on d2 because we play with rook e1 and d4. I believe this is all you should know. I have to be honest, this stuff is always very confusing. There are always things, or sometimes things popping up that move orders that I haven't thought about. I do think I've covered most relevant ones here. If not so, I'm looking forward to your feedback. Let me know. But I think this is pretty clear. So there are some things that matter. There are some things that don't matter. So bishop c5, c3, knight f6, d3, or knight f6, d3, bishop c5, c3. That doesn't matter. Likewise, d6, castle, castle, or castle, castle, d6 also doesn't matter. But whether we play, for example, whether we play rook e1 or whether we play h3 first, that matters. That is quite different. We play h3 here after h6. You cannot play rook e1 because of g5. So here you have to go bishop e3, for example, to be able to defend from g5, g4. So some move orders are interchangeable and some not. And I think I've covered all the important points in this video. Hope you can try to understand it. If I was too fast, you rewatch these parts and also try to understand it on your own. Because yeah, these things, it is hard for me to even share them with you like this on demand, because I can forget something. But when I play my own game, I'm able to take a second for every move I make, and then I'm able to reconstruct these rules. So you don't have to know them by heart like that. Don't have to memorize them like a poem. People memorize poems, at least that's what I did as a kid. But you do have to understand them, and I think it's important to be able to reconstruct them. And it's actually very, very difficult. Many of my peers, even Karakin once, fell into this. He didn't pay attention, and he played h3 too early, and after h6, suddenly he found himself in this position, which is just really bad for white because g4 is coming. So always think, in a position like that, always think, did he castle? Did I castle? Can he play h6, g5? Did he already play a6? Shall I play a4? So always take a second, don't rush it, and don't make the wrong move order. I believe you're now well equipped to face all the different Italian move orders, and you understand it. Good luck, and see you in the next chapter.